everyone. Welcome to the Website Investing Show. Today I'm joined by Craig Campbell. Craig, I can't see you. Oh, there you go. Hello.
There you go. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's just going to be you and me today talking all things link building in 2023. And after we have finished our discussion on link building, I will be tearing down 2H domains, and because I've got some exciting domains to show you. And yeah, this is pretty much the agenda for today. Craig, thank you for joining me. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. It's good to be on this side for a change.
I know.
It's good to be here.
Brilliant. Right, so before we get started, let me welcome some of the peeps that are here. We've got Daniel, hey. We've got Luke, hello. We have Terence. I don't know how to say. Doing great. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. We've got Bertie. We've got Steve. We've got Mick. Happy New Year, guys. All right. So let's get straight into it then. So, Craig, link building 2023. Obviously, link building is a very popular SEO tactic for growing websites, for pushing those rankings up. What are your thoughts for link building in 2023? Is it still a thing? Is it still important?
Massively. I think you're always asked this question, what's happening in 2023? And, I think for me, people have been saying link building's dying, since, I don't know, 10 years ago. People have been saying, oh, links are dying and all this kind of stuff. Now, as far as I'm concerned personally, the biggest part of SEO is content and links. So I think, link building is massively important. Building up that domain authority is hugely important. Of course, link building is slightly evolved. The types of links that you get, the structure, the strategy, the different types of link building have changed. And, I know you guys do a lot of digital PR. It's a link's a link, though. It doesn't matter what guise you put on it. Getting a link is a link. And of course, people like yourself who do digital PR, you're wanting a link on a high profile news website or whatever it may be. And rather than the typical thing back in the day, getting a whole bunch of citations or on crappy, little directories or whatever it would be, that was seen as a link back in the day. And I think obviously that has changed, and it's more about quality over quantity, and obviously how you pitch to get these digital PR links. It takes a bit of time, a bit of persuasion, a bit of quality. You've got to pitch it right and all that kind of stuff. So obviously digital PR is one of them. But I don't think much is going to change other than, the barrier to entry is always going up. We're needing to do things a little bit, with a little bit more thought and a little bit more quality. So that's how I see link building. I don't see it being a case of links are going to be less important. I think Google are clever enough to ignore a lot of garbage that people are putting out there. And I think a lot of people do waste a lot of time and money on garbage when it comes to link building. So I want to make that point clear. I definitely think there's there's link building and there's link building. And yeah, so I don't see it deteriorating in any way, shape, or form. I just think that the way we look at it is slightly different.
So, in what kind of involvement do you think the link building has taken place? Will be taking place in 2023? Like, what do you think would be the best practices in 2023?
So for me, if I was starting out just now, and I was having to invest in some link building, I think, for me, the kind of cleaner, whiter hat way of doing things would be my first port of call. Certainly digital PR I use quite a lot. And, I think that's a great foundation to then build on. Now, of course, you've got guest posts, you've got niche edits, and all that other kind of stuff. And then you've got link building automation. It really depends on how aggressive you want to be. Now, yes, I will use niche edits to prop up a guest post. Yes, I will use niche edits to power up a PR gig, a nice PR article that's out there. So I still use niche edits. I still use guest posts. I try and not use the same guest post that everyone else is using. It's always just trying to find unique inventory and obviously have your quality filters on it. A bit like when you guys look for, expired domains. There's certain checks, and when I'm looking at links, there's certain checks. You want to look at the number of outbound links on there, what else they're linking out to, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, of course, there's quality checks in there as well. So it's always just trying to I want something you can't get or you don't have, or you've not found out about yet. That's what you're always striving to do. Of course, if you've got BBC and you've got, the Manchester Evening News and all this other stuff, I want to replicate that as well. I want to match that or get something of similar value. But equally, we're always still looking for something that you maybe can't get your hands on, or don't know how to get your hands on, to give you the competitive edge.
Nice. So, because obviously you just mentioned that obviously you have got your own criteria when it comes to niche edits and guest posting. So, what do you normally tend to look for when you are looking at a potential site to place a guest post or a niche edit? Because obviously there's already if someone is willing to accept payment from you, do you normally pay for your niche edits or guest posts or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that publicly, but hey, well, I'm not gonna bullshit here. There's always a transaction that takes place, for me anyway. And yeah, that's just the way it is. I could tell
Exactly.
you it doesn't, but
Exactly.
it just happens. So
Exactly. So if someone is, willing to make this transaction, obviously, if they're willing to make that transaction with you, surely that raises some questions like they're probably doing it for others, like maybe they're linking out to others, like and so on and so on. So how do you find like a good quality domain that hasn't linked out excessively? Like, what are your checks?
I mean, obviously, I will use Ahrefs to check the number of outbound links. Obviously, there's a little tab down near the bottom left-hand side of Ahrefs, which will show you the number of outbound links. But other things that I'm looking for is obviously relevance. Is the first thing. Now, what is relevance? Would I want to be on a news website that spoke about, and the article was about SEO? Yeah, that's relevant for me. The website itself doesn't have to be, SEO related. Otherwise, you're going to narrow your opportunities down massively. The second thing that I'm always looking for is that the website itself has traffic and rankings. I think that's two big indicators as to whether that's a real website or not. And in a lot of cases, we see DR50 or whatever, and nice metrics and all that, but it gets little to no traffic. So I think having an element of traffic and rankings shows me that that website performs well to some degree. And then, as I say, the number of outbound links is another thing that I'd be looking at. So if that links out to you, I can use marketwatch.com as an example. If you go to MarketWatch, now we all know you can get that for, $5-10, depending if you're buying in bulk or not. Now, if you go and look at the number of outbound links MarketWatch has got, yes, it's a DR80 or whatever it is, but it's got something ridiculous like 50,000 outbound links on it. So for me, any kind of link equity that's going to be squeezed out of that DR80 is spread between way too many people. And that's why that particular option is like $5, $10. So, these are not ones that I feel are big needle movers when it comes to getting great organic traffic. You know, they're more for kidology. If you want to give something to your dumb client who doesn't understand SEO and doesn't understand what Market Watch is, then on paper, yes, it can look like a good link, but the reality is, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. So, well, I've got it. I'm not going to lie, but you know, I don't think it's going to do much difference to anyone's website.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of traffic? Where do you look for the traffic? Do you look at the traffic, the Ahrefs, SEMrush? Like, where would you look for the site's traffic?
So for me, I am a bit of a weirdo. Uh, so I will look at both just to see. Obviously, there's always differences in terms of the data. You know, so you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I use 3, 4, 5 tools, but you know, I normally have a scan over SEMrush and Ahrefs to see if there's anything you know different on there, and yeah, I think you know between those two, it gives you an idea of whether you know the keywords are ranking, and of course it's getting traffic. You know what are the keywords that it's ranking for, and stuff like that. So that's the basics of what I'm looking for.
Nice. So when it comes to relevancy, are you looking at when you do niche edits? Are you looking at sentence and page relevancy, or are you looking for like a whole site relevancy?
Um, so with a niche edit, just for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand what a niche edit is, obviously it's a placement on an article that's potentially out there already. For me, I would want the page to be somewhat relevant. However, there's a flip side to this. Now, obviously, we can go and we can buy a niche edit on some SEO article or whatever it might be that you're trying to power up. There's more power comes from niche edits' homepage than there does from an inner page on a website. Of course, there is. So I, at times, try and pay a little bit extra and get the homepage link, and I'm wanting the whole domain to be relevant. That would be my first port of call, but then obviously you're going to run out of inventory. Then I would potentially go down to page level and then potentially power that page up. So I would potentially then use link building automation tools like Money Robot, GSA, and things like that to give that niche edit a little bit more power. Now, a lot of people say, Craig, you know, Money Robot and all that kind of stuff's garbage and all that kind of stuff. You know, it doesn't give you that much. It also helps keep that niche edit in Google's index if it's sprayed around, you know, thousands of websites. So it's not just about the powering it up; it's also retaining that page in the index. And you'll find with a lot of niche edits that the URL drops in and out of Google's index. And if it's not in Google's index, for me, it's not passing any value. So I think that is what I would do in that instance.
So what would you say is your preferred method of link building when it comes to guest posts and niche edits? Would you prefer to get backlinks from guest posts or niche edits when it comes to just those two?
it's it's a difficult one. Obviously, niche edits are far cheaper, but I think you know. Let me just give you an example. Now, obviously, everyone has a budget. It doesn't matter whether you're working with a client or it's you or whoever. You're working with a budget. Now, if you were just to build hundreds of guest posts, you know, guest posts costing you an average of, you know, 100, 200 bucks a link or whatever it's going to cost, sometimes even 300. Now, if you were to go after 100 guest posts, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So what I try and do is like build 5 guest posts and then power it up with some niche edits, see what happens, and then maybe expand on it or you know do more niche edits. So the big thing here is with niche edits is you're trying to save money, you're trying to generate power without spending an arm and a leg on a guest post. So I think you know niche edits would be used more aggressively the than anything else, whether it's a guest post, whether it's a digital PR. I am still likely to use some niche edits to power either or up. So I think, if you had to ask me what is the most frequently used type of link, then it would have to be a niche edit, just because it's cost effective. They can be powerful. But I get it, guest posts and different IPs and getting your digital PR and building all of that kind of stuff is also massively important. But I think there is always going to be that cost. Whether you're delivering it for a client or whether it's for yourself, you do want to obviously keep the costs to a
Yeah.
minimum. So that's why I would lean heavily on niche edits in most cases.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. But just to kind of come back to the digital PR, personally, what I think in 2023 is, as you said in the beginning of this conversation anyway, was quality over quantity. And I think that with services like digital PR method, at least in the link building, I think is an excellent choice. It can be pricey, it can be hard to for some people that don't understand how to do it, but with our service, we're getting incredible results, like getting links from some top sites that traditionally, if you are to outreach to these sites, they're either really expensive or they just don't, they're like not interested, like they don't do that, right? They wouldn't like respond and say, yeah, sure, here's a link, $500, right? So managing to sneak in and get a backlink from top quality sites, I think is changing kind of the game in a way, because I know it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of still new digital PR. Haro is not so new, although Haro and digital PR are quite similar, but they do have their differences. Um, so when did you start experimenting with digital PR? Are you doing it like on a regular basis? Like how do you do with it?
I mean, digital PR is something I played around with for a long time, to be
Okay.
honest. Building a personal brand, and all of the other stuff that I've done over the last probably 7 or 8 years is something that has incorporated having to use digital PR, anyway. For a number of different reasons, not just for link building. Also building up your personal brand. Obviously, if you want to get blue ticks in social media, you need to be seen in the press. So there was always that element of it. Trying to trigger a knowledge panel, all of these things that they're wanting to see you cited in other trusted sources. So the overall bigger picture, out with SEO and link building, digital PR has played a significant part in what I've been trying to achieve. And so yeah, it's been something I've done since trying to build a personal brand. Of course, we all want to see your face in the paper. Look at me at the start. With a bit of ego. But the reality is, we want that power and traffic and all the other stuff that comes from it. And so yeah, it's something I've been doing early on, and I think even if anyone who's watched me talking, I spoke a lot about black hat things in the past, and I used to give a famous trick. So there was under images. Now, if you Google the Liverpool Echo, which is a well-known paper in Liverpool, if you Google Liverpool Echo copyright unknown, there's literally more than 1 million images where they don't know who owns that image. Now, what I used to do is used to reach out to these people and say, that image is mine. Can you give me a link as a credit? To be able to get that. And I've done that. I've given that presentation at talks over the last 5 or 6 years, and that trick worked very, very well. Obviously, times are changing, and more and more people are trying these tricks and trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and stuff. So it's less effective now, but it was a nice trick back in the day to get in these high profile papers, because of course, again, you could potentially pitch to them, try and get a good article, or a good story. But as an SEO, we're in a boring niche. Let's be honest. Out with our own circles that listen to this stuff, it's boring. How are you going to get in the newspaper? So it was always hard to figure that out. And I think, using the image trick was the easiest leverage I could get to get a number of different high profile PR links without paying, some PR agency to do it. Because you look at PR agencies just now, they're going, or a PR package, you're talking minimum 5 grand, and there's no guarantees what you're going to get if they're genuinely pitching out and, trying to create stories around about your business. So for me, that was a little sneaky way of doing it. But yeah, I've always tried to lean heavily on digital PR. I just think it works better. Anything that takes more time, or is a little bit more difficult to get. There's going to be less competition because people can't be bothered going
Yeah,
to.
that's so true.
So so yeah, it's been fun, and as I say, I've done. I took Nigel Farage's expired domain, who he's a well-known politician in the UK. Again, that was a kind of PR stunt as well, so I was able to get in the Daily Mail and stuff like that because of that. So thinking outside the box, you can create digital PR opportunities for yourself as well, and that's always been my thing. It's just learning what works, what doesn't, and sometimes you need to maybe overstep the mark a little bit, like taking Nigel Farage's domain name to do something that's actually going to be newsworthy.
Well, that's one of the biggest kind of bonuses of doing digital PR, is because it also kind of feeds and helps you create this EAT, right? Expertise, authority, and trust. Now experience as well. That Google's another E on it. But that's better than just a niche edit and call it quits, right? Digital PR is so much more than just getting a link. Yes, you get the link, but you also get exposure to your brand and your name and getting yourself out there. So that is why personally I think that this is kind of going to be I think the next level kind of thing that's going to become really, really popular, because I think it's moving into that direction, but it's still not as popular as kind of niche edit, guest posts, and all that sort of thing. So I'm really kind of excited to hear that you've actually been doing it for quite a long time. So, and and that method, what was the success rate like of the images that you were doing with? What was that kind of like? Did people actually believe you?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I probably had a success rate close to 9 out of 10. Now, I'll explain why. At the time, I don't know if I should admit this or not, but I'll just do it. Fuck it. I've done it in presentations before. I used to have a copyright lawyer website, which was mine, and the email used to come from this legit looking copyright lawyer. So that was always enough to scare the person into going, yeah, sorry about that. Here's the link. So,
Got you.
um, that was, it wasn't, from me, the SEO guy, saying, yeah, that's my image. It was done. And I get that that's where people term me as black hat. The reality was I didn't have the budget to pay someone to do it for me, so I had to think outside the box and yeah. So I had a good, but that this was years ago before a lot of people
Yeah.
were doing that, and I think now that I've done that talk numerous times as well, and people have been trying it, and I think even friends in the industry, they get emails and all that kind of stuff, and they always tag me in it, going, "Oh, Craig, this person clearly listened to one of your talks somewhere, pretending that that image is theirs." So it's but again, when your back's against the wall and you maybe don't have the budget, you have to try stuff out. And like anyone, I certainly wasn't born into big bucks and bags of cash to do it properly. So I had to utilize these things to.
Well, think outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Like it's yeah. I mean, it works
But yeah.
with great success rate. So
Yeah.
yeah. Just one note on the guys on the chat. We're going to be replying and answering to your questions right towards the end probably, so stick around. We just want to cover a few more bits and we're going to answer your questions. Right, so so do you think that there are some certain link building methods that are probably going to start dying off, like one of those being broken link building? And for those people that don't know, do you want to explain what is broken link building?
So broken link building, I wouldn't say it's going to die off first and foremost. Now, what it is, again, if you go to Ahrefs, for example, you can go and see what links on a website are broken. Now, that could be Amazon, it could be the BBC, whatever you put into that, you can go in and see what links on the BBC, for example, because that's all a link we all want, right? The BBC, high profile. So broken link building, you want to see what's broken. Now, the chances are a domain's expired. Something's happened for that link to break. Now, what you can do is if there's a broken link on there on the BBC that links out to a domain that's expired, for example, then what you could do is jump in, grab that domain, do a redirect, and boom, you've got your BBC link. What you could also do is reach out to them saying, guys, you've got a broken link on there. Do you fancy changing it to this? That was my website. I've now rebranded. Can you point over to here? That's probably less effective. But essentially, what you're looking to do is find broken links. The BBC or whoever doesn't want broken links in their website, but they guys are not SEOs, and things change, domains expire, whatever it might be, and you can take advantage of that. To your, and as I say, there are other sneakier ways which you can approach the person and give them some BS story, to get that link changed out to yours. That was, as I say, that was my website. I've now rebranded. Can you point over to CraigCampbellSEO.com? Whether the guy falls for that or not, it's a different story. But so there's loads of different ways to approach that or pitch it, including, as I say, even grabbing the expired domain name. There's a lot of people out there who will sell you links on the BBC, and they're claiming it's a link to the BBC, but it is a broken link, and they do a redirect, and that's you getting a cheap BBC link. So broken link building is something that happens on a day-to-day basis on a website. Can you use it to your advantage? Yeah, I think you can. I certainly wouldn't be going after low quality crappy web 2.0s or reviving anything of that standard. But I certainly think if you're looking at some of the kind of top websites that are really, really difficult to get on, and the BBC is one of those, then I'd be looking at the BBC, running that through Ahrefs and finding out what broken links they've got, and then making a plan of attack. And as I say, you can be dirty as your moral compass wants you to be, but it can work very, very well.
Cool. So what kind of tools do you think are the best link building tools in 2023? Which one do you recommend?
So in terms of actual tools to do link building, I am still a fan. You've got RankerX. Now, I'm not suggesting, I want to be clear at the start, I am not suggesting these tools are tools that I would use towards my money website. Now, Money Robot, GSA work very, very well. SEO Autopilot, RankerX, all of them do a similar thing. And for me, that's the only really tools I would use in terms of link building. Other people will say, use, I don't know, BuzzStream or things like that. There are tools like that. The reality for me, and I am a link vendor, I've got a link building company, is we have a big list of vendors who literally we can get placed on any website that's available out there. So we're not using BuzzStream to do outreach as such. We've got a list of vendors that have access to websites, editorial access to websites. So we've done all that outreach in the past. There are tools like Pitchbox and all that kind of stuff that you can use. Now, certainly in terms of a lot of people who want to reach out manually or semi-manually, using something like Pitchbox to automate a lot of the stuff, automate the auto responses and all that kind of stuff. If you want to do outreach, then I think Pitchbox is the all singing, all dancing tool for that. But you've got others, BuzzStream. I think Ninja Outreach was one I used back in the day. I don't know if that's still kicking about or not. But then, when it comes to link building automation, RankerX, GSA, Money Robot, SEO Autopilot, just to power stuff up and help stuff remain in the index. And a lot of people say, Craig, they're very black hat and old school and all that. Everyone I know that does link building, everyone I know that makes money online will still be using these tools. It doesn't matter who you are. You're using them or you're paying someone to use them. That's effectively what's happening. But I think Pitchbox would be the creme de la creme in terms of doing outreach. So hopefully that gives you a mixture of different tools there to look at.
Perfect. To add on that, I think tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush can also be kind of
Oh, of
utilized
course, yeah.
for those purposes. Yeah, but those tools that you mentioned, of course, are anyone can pick whatever they feel like working with, right? So we're just kind of giving recommendations and what kind we think is working for us. So brilliant. So what are your thoughts on using expired domains for link building purposes like 301 redirects, etc.? Because obviously the goal is to get the best quality backlinks, right? And there are some really good expired domains out there that have got incredible links. Some of them have BBC, National Geographic, Healthline, etc. So what are your thoughts? And do you do much 301 redirections with expired domains?
I mean, to answer the last question first, do I do a lot of 301 redirects? Probably not. I've always been a big fan of the PBN method. Now, I'm not saying the redirects don't work as such, but for me, as an affiliate guy, a guy who wants to use a website for multiple reasons, 9 times out of 10, when I get an expired domain and then repurpose it, I then don't do the 301 redirect. I'll normally just build a site out on it. And I'll also use it as a link building resource. So I am the PBN more than expired domain guy, just because obviously I can throw content up there. I can do effectively your what's that method called, Mark, that goes on about the, oh my god, it's on my show on Tuesdays well and I can't remember, but that method, Jesus,
The Tomb Raider methods.
the Tomb Raider method, yeah. So obviously, I am effectively using the Tomb Raider method, but building out a PBN and also using it as a linkable asset. So I think it's a waste of an opportunity, if you like, just to do it and then do a 301 redirect. That's the way I look at it. And again, if people have followed me for a number of years, you'll see a lot of my talks back in the day were all based around PBNs and expired domains and all that stuff. I'm a massive freak when it comes to that stuff. I absolutely love it, and obviously leveraging any power or anything that is prehistorically been on that domain name. So massive fan of it, and yes, I still use it, but as I say, 9, maybe 8 out of 10 I will use as a PBN rather than a redirect though.
So how do you make a decision, like which one should I redirect, which one should I keep as a PBN?
It's I think if I can find a way, if I get a domain name that's got all of the link equity that I need, and I can somehow make a website out of it, whether whether it's a volleyball website or something that I'm not that interested in, there's still potential there to scale that and flip it. So for me, I am always just looking, is there something I can do here to make money, whether it be affiliate, whether it be informational? Is there enough content on here for me to steal, to give me a head start? If I'm only buying it and it's only got, I don't know, 15 really good domain names, but it's got no content, it hasn't had any content for a while and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
then that's probably something I would try and build out what I could to revive the link power, get it going a little bit, and then just do the redirect. There's got to be, when I'm looking at it, the big thing I'm looking for here, when I grab an expired domain name, is what content was there previously? What can I steal? Is it going to be easy for me to throw up a website without too much cost or time going into the content strategy? And if there is, I'm all over it. If there's free content there, that makes a decision for me. If there's not, then I may be inclined to just do a redirect. As I know you guys, highly recommend doing the old redirects and stuff. So,
Well, it's always good to hear like a different perspective. Obviously,
yeah.
everyone's got their own methods and ways, to do that. So, when you say steal content, do you recreate and rewrite the content, or do you just like take the old content and put it live and that's it?
So initially, what I would do is take the content that was previously on there, throw it up, and see what happens. Now, someone may have beaten me to it. I have went to the Wayback Machine and looked for content on websites. I've not bought the domain name, but I've literally just stolen all the content. So if someone's beaten me to that and stolen the content, and it's not going to index, then would I spin it? Would I paraphrase it? Would I do something to it to make it index again? Then yes. But I think the first protocol is, if it can be easy, and I can just copy and paste on, then happy days. But
Aren't you worried about plagiarisms and things like that? Because do you change the wording a little bit at all, or you're
no,
just
no, I'll pick it up straight away. Now, obviously, as far as I'm concerned, if it was there and it's no longer in Google's index, then I should be able to put that back up, and it should pop again. But sometimes it doesn't. Even if someone's not stolen it, sometimes it doesn't. So that's when I would go to the cost of getting someone to edit it and tweak it for me. But as far as I'm concerned, why would I go to that cost in the first place? If I can get away with a copy and paste job, then that's the cheapest option. So we want to start at that. And again, cost is time and all that kind of stuff. So, if there is, for example, a free bunch of content there, then, I'm winning. And that's what I want. So it's just that's the way I initially started out. And as I say, from there, it might need tweaked, paraphrased, whatever. There's obviously tools out there, like quillbot.com, which is amazing for paraphrasing. So, a lot of people say these things don't work, and paraphrasing and spinning content. I can show you loads of websites that have spun content or paraphrased content that do get crawled and indexed by Google. So, yeah.
Got you. I guess one last question for me would be a question about DR. Obviously, DR is an Ahrefs metric that estimates the backlink strength of a certain given site. There's a lot of speculation in the SEO community whether DR actually matters. So, what are your thoughts on DR? Does it actually matter?
I'm probably sure if someone like John Mueller was to answer that, they would say absolutely no, it doesn't matter. It's a third party metric. However, as an SEO guy, I look at it now. Is a DR50 better than a DR30? In my opinion, yes, it is. Clearly, it is. And I've also worked quite closely with SEMrush in the past, and I know they've got an authority score.
Yeah.
Now, I actually helped them in terms of advising how that score was calculated. And obviously, they're looking at the traffic, and the keyword, and then coming up with a formula. to come up with an authority score. And it's based on what I believe to be real things. And I'm pretty sure Ahrefs DR is calculated in a very similar way. So for me, it still gives us a guide as to what's more powerful than the next thing. So yeah, I think SEOs use it. Would I be obsessed with it? You know, if you said to me, if you rephrased that question and you said to me, Craig, I've got a very generic DR50 or a super relevant DR35, which one do you want? I'd probably take the super relevant DR35.
Yeah.
So it's not the be all and end all. Of course it's not, but it still shows me, you know, and I know it can be faked as well. You know, one of the big things, if I see a DR50 that's got no traffic, no rankings, and it's got a whole bunch of Google URL shorteners, then I know that they've been to Fiverr and they've bought that gig that inflates your DR. You know, so it's very easy to spot a website. But if I look at the referring domains, and you know they're you know got HubSpot, they've got niche website builders, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then I'm going to go right. Nah, fair enough. This looks like a place I want to be on. So yeah, I think you can spot the fake DR a mile away if you just look at the referring domains.
Absolutely, got you. And yeah, very, very good. And yeah, because I go through many, personally, many expired domains in my day job, if you like. So you can easily really spot where there is like fake DR, right? Just like unnatural. There's like 50 referring domains and DR50 or something crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, but I do agree. I do agree. Perfect. So now it's time to answer some questions. Now that we've got Craig, and let's use his brain. So the first question is it safe to buy links from freelancing sites?
It depends on what freelancing websites you're referring to. Um, you know, if you mean websites that have a lot of freelancers on them, you know, yeah, why not? You know, people advertise. The big thing here, Emmanuel, is that these guys that have access, editorial access to a website, they will go to a marketplace. They will mass email people. They want to sell as much of that stuff as they can possibly get. So what you do is you find a lot of these guys on people per hour and all that kind of stuff. You know, you can even look for links specific on people per hour. So if you want something from entrepreneur.com, then going in and doing a search on people per hour will show you a whole bunch of vendors selling that stuff. So yes, you know, the answer would be yeah, why not? But obviously do your own due diligence. Make sure that what you're buying is good, because obviously there are some horrible vendors on these freelancing websites who will take your money and serve up, you know, something that's not of great quality. So again, just do your own due diligence. But these guys are everywhere. These guys are wanting to make money and they've got to advertise somewhere. So and freelancing sites would be one of those.
Very, very good answer. I second that. The second question is from Aaron, who is saying, yeah, when would you say that hiring an in-house link building team would be more cost effective than purchasing links through providers?
So Aaron, this really depends on your setup and you know all that kind of stuff. Now we know that most people that are link vendors are probably making a healthy margin on, you know, what they're supplying. They are a business. Now, if you build your own in-house team, are you still going to be buying those same links for half the price? Are you going to be doing outreach? Are you going to be doing something different? If not, you need to weigh up the cost of hiring those staff and having to manage them and deal with them, which we all know is a massive problem. You know, dealing and managing staff and getting the right processes in place. Would it be easier just to outsource to a vendor? You know, he's taking, you know, double what he's paying, or whatever it might be. But sometimes that is the most cost-effective option, as against hiring 4 people to do it in-house, and it's costing you a lot more money, but you've got that added stress of managing, training, hiring and firing and all the other kind of drama that goes with it. So I don't know, it depends on how many links you're building, how much you're spending on it. If you turn around to me and say, Craig, I'm spending 15k a month on links, could you get that cheaper by having 2 or 3 link builders and paying them 2 or 3 grand a month each? Then yeah, but it's the added stress and time and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of people have got their processes, systems in place, they're using VAs, they're already 5 years ahead of you in terms of inventory. So can you compete? Can you get what these guys are offering? And a lot of times the answer is no, and you simply just have to pay up for links through providers. But just bear in mind that some providers are charging obscene markups. So it's a difficult one to say, depending on how many links you're building. The perfect world, though, if you had the right staff round about you doing it in-house over a longer period of time, if you're spending a lot of money, is going to work out a lot more cost effective.
Yeah, it's a tricky question for sure, but I think it's a good answer. There's quite a few people here just for you, Craig. Okay, there's one more question from Henry. If expired site has only error page, if it has only error page for over 1 year before you buy, does Google think it is completely dead, or it can be resurrected full powers? Do you understand the question?
Yeah. So if I seen an expired domain name and it had an error page when I was looking in the Wayback Machine,
All right. Okay.
I would imagine that Google will see that as dead. It would be my thought. It would instantly put me off. If there's nothing for me to steal content-wise, now you could argue that you could go and reverse engineer everything and recreate the old URLs and put new content on those new URLs. But is that likely to resurrect to full power? I don't think so. I just think if Google are constantly seeing a completely dead website for years on end, I think any value and anything that was coming from that, especially when we spoke earlier about broken link building, people are trying to replace your link, and if it's been dead for over a year, I wouldn't be touching it. I think it's going to lose. If I could get it in 90 days or even 6 months, then maybe. But I think over a year, Google are going to look at that and go, it's it's a dead donkey, so to speak. So for me, I think that's a waste of time, man.
Good answer. Hey, Tony, nice to see you here. We have one more question from Loud Egg. For affiliate sites, should you keep all affiliate links no follow, or is it okay to sneak a few follow links in there?
I mean, I don't. So I know this guy Joe. I am not sure why you would want to sneak a few follow links in there as such. If I'm doing Amazon, just let's use Amazon as the affiliate. Why would I want to link out to them? Do they even need any power from me? I would rather just make them all no follow. That would be my answer. Would I want to sneak a few in? For what reason? To give Amazon that little bit more power. They bloody dominate the world. So I'm not giving them no more power, just as a matter of principle. But nah, I don't see there being any real point, Joe, if I'm being honest. I think what you don't want to do is do follow a lot of your affiliate links, because you're draining power from your own asset, so to speak. So I think with a lot of affiliate, and in particular Amazon, I would be making sure that everything was no follow. But that's entirely up to you. It's just easier and clean to make them all no follow without any kind of messing around. So that's what most people that I've seen and watched do.
Great, and thank you. Very welcome. One more question we have from Emmanuel. He's saying, does it make sense to find an expired domain that is tightly themed to your new site and then get the expired pages from Wayback Machine and copy the pages to the new site without editing?
So when I'm reviving an expired domain name, I would go back to the Wayback Machine, and yes, I would copy the pages. I mentioned that earlier. Now, I'm going to throw this question back to Elena because they guys are doing a similar thing. Now, what I personally said that I would do is I would put that content back up as it was without touching it. And then see what happens. Now, if that's struggling to get in the index and someone else has maybe used that content or Google doesn't like it anymore or whatever it is, then yes, I'm going to edit that somewhat to make sure that it does the required job. But for you, Elena, what do you guys do out of curiosity? Do you throw it up same as me and then edit it, or are you editing it and then throwing it up?
So generally we don't like take the content and then just copy and paste it. We just don't do that. But if we are to buy the expired domain, because obviously he's saying that it's tightly themed to your new site, then you could either redirect it, 3-1 redirect it, even if you have a new site, or build that as a new site, but make sure you rewrite the content that you like there. But this is how we do it. We don't tend to just copy and paste the content, but everyone's got their own methods and stuff. So this would be kind of my advice. But yeah, I guess both answers are fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the last question, guys. We still have a few more minutes to pick Craig's brains. In the meantime, Craig, have you got anything else you want to add on link building in 2023?
Anything else I want to add? I just think you have to get cleaner, get more creative, think outside the box. As I say, links are links. I try and avoid the low quality. Someone asked there, Web 2.0s, are they still good practice for SEO in 2023? Effectively, yes and no would be the answer to that. Web 2.0s is what Money Robot and everything else is generating. Now, yes, they can help with indexing. Do they pass a whole heap of power? No, they don't. And I think Google are well aware of what a Web 2.0 is and probably passes less value to them. But as I say, when I use Money Robot or whatever to a niche edit, it's not just about the power, it is about the indexing and retaining the niche edit in the index, which is why I use it. It's not all about the power. Now, yes, there probably will be some form of power, but I think it's marginal. But when people ask that question, a lot of people are just using Money Robot direct to the money websites. Absolutely not a chance in hell that's good practice. So I just want to clarify that up, just in case anyone is reading and thinks we stepped over that question. I think everything has its place in the industry. It's just where you use what, so to speak. So yes, as I say, I still use them, but they are more for indexing and a little bit of power to niche edits and whatnot. Is my viewpoint on it, and I'm sure someone else out there will go, nah, they still work for me. I'm a florist and some weird place, and all I've done is build Web 2.0s. Yeah, that might work for you in a very niche market, but when you're competing at the top end of the competitive spaces, then you have to do a hell of a lot more than Web 2.0s to rank, and I think that's reverts back to the whole discussion we had around digital PR and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the big corporates are going. That's the route they will go down. That's what they're leveraging. And I think, if we want to compete with these guys in terms of website power and DR and all the other good stuff, then we've got to either catch up with them or let them run away with all the money. So
Agreed. I agree that you're just gonna have to get more creative because there are certain methods and people use same tools, same methods, etc. but there's a little bit polluted in my opinion. And I think if you want to stand out, get creative, think outside the box. That's just, yeah, I agree. And there's one more question actually. Right. So how about Parasite ranking in 2023? Examples include using high DR parasites to rank affiliate pages. Will it still be going strong or will it be harder than 2022? Good question.
I don't really see it changing, to be honest. I still see a lot of news websites that rank for a lot of affiliate stuff in some of the niches that I operate in, and it's working very, very well. Will it still be going strong, or will it be harder? To be honest, whilst us in the SEO community who do link building are aware of what Parasite SEO is, I'm not sure the masses are doing it. I think a lot of people will see that as something dodgy, which is definitely not. It's whether these, articles will allow you to do it, and sadly, everyone's open for money. So, if you're paying for it, then it's going to be easy to do. Obviously, if you're trying to pitch it to a newspaper through the normal digital PR process of pitching a story and you try and throw that in, then I think, that will be excluded. That's harder to do. But certainly in terms of guest posts and, paying to be on a website, you effectively tell them what you want to be on there and where you want it to go to. And if that includes an affiliate link, then that's what you're paying for. So I don't see it being harder as such in 2023. I think people are waking up, and Parasite SEO is something people have been doing for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. It's not even, but people are now starting to waken up and start to do these things as part of their strategies. So my only concern would be more and more people are going to try and leverage it. And yeah, that's up for Google to deal with it at that point. But when you're paying, you dictate what goes on that page and what links go on it. And I'm pretty sure those little guys out there who have the editorial access will take your money and slap up your affiliate link, no problem at all.
Yeah, I agree. It's at the end of the day, it's just like a niche edit, right? It's just like
Yeah.
a guest post. I guess it's just the name that maybe makes people say, "Ooh."
Parasite, yeah, it makes you sound like some, yeah. Uh, I mean, I kind of get it as you are kind of grabbing the power of something, so you are a parasite effectively by doing it. But it's
Yeah.
probably well named. But yeah, it's a horrible name to be using. To be fair,
Yeah, but I agree. I agree with what you said, though. I don't think it's something that's gonna get hard. Well, obviously, people sniff the opportunity. I know Matt Diggity talks a lot about Parasite SEO, but ultimately, I don't think it's a method that's gonna die out. It's just like regular link building, isn't it? You just have
yeah.
different intentions, right? Right, Craig. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think this session was awesome. Hopefully, people will take away some of your knowledge in terms of what to expect and what to do in link building in 2023. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they're interested about you and your kind of persona?
Eh, you can go to CraigCampbellSEO.com, or you can find me in any social media or on my YouTube channel. Easy to find, just search for Craig Campbell SEO and you will find me. But I'm pretty sure most of the guests there will know me already. I know
Yeah,
Emmanuel, Loud Egg. I know a lot of these guys there, so they already know. But for anyone who doesn't, you get me on CraigCampbellSEO.com.
perfect. For anyone that's watching now, later, and you like what Craig's saying, you like him, check out his YouTube channel, check out his socials. But yeah, this is a wrap. Craig, thank you so much. I will be tearing down 2H domains now, but I know you're a busy man, so thank you so much. And I think this was great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. See you later on. Bye
See you
bye.
later. Take care. Bye bye. Right, guys, stick around because I've got two really exciting H domains I'm going to show you. Both of them are available in our inventory. So if you like what you see, get in touch with us and I can help you tear them down further and tell you anything you want to know further. But the first expired domain I'm going to show you is called Juice Gluten Free. Now, this is an awesome expired domain because it has some incredible backlinks. And just continuing on to the backlinks kind of conversation, it has the type of backlinks you want in your site. So the industry and the niche is food. It's 13 years old and it's DR37. So I'm going to share my screen now and I'm going to tear down this expired domain with you. So as I said, DR37, and it has 512 referring domains. It's called juiceglutenfree.com. So really good name, and it kind of says what it's on the tin. It's in the food niche and it's about gluten free. So this is what the domain looked like back in the day when it was live and functioning. As the name suggests, the domain was run by a lady called Juice. She was really kind of big in the gluten-free space. She had books, she had products, she had testimonials. She went into classes and kind of spread awareness of the gluten-free diet. So she was really kind of massive, if you like. So no wonder why this site has picked up some wonderful, wonderful backlinks. So as you can see, products, recipes, testimonials, daily deals, and about, which she kind of shared what she was doing, what she has done, and what classes she taught in, and kind of her kind of work in the gluten-free space. Now let's take a look at the backlinks because obviously they're the most exciting part if this is expired domain. So we have backlinks from Forbes. In fact, we have got 4 that I do follow, which is excellent. We have Washington Post, Healthline, BuzzFeed, The Knot. We have the spruceeats.com, Glamour, Bodybuilding. We have Washingtonian, Winespector.com, What to Expect, Cooking Light, Craftsy, modernartnews.com, Washington City Paper, brandchannel.com, New Hope, Beyond Celiac. Now, this is really, really good backlink. And the reason for that is because some people go gluten-free because they want, for some reason, just want to cut gluten out of their diet. But for many people, they have to go gluten-free because they are celiac. And a celiac is a type of kind of disease, if you like, that where your body cannot metabolize gluten and you start having extreme effects when you eat gluten. So I classify this as an extremely high quality relevant backlink which is from beyondceliac.org. Furthermore, we have Money Saving Mom, we have Foodista, skinnyms.com, we have Go Dairy Free, we have celiac.com, another wonderful, wonderful backlink. Allergic Living, again, celiac disease is kind of an allergy to gluten, which I put this backlink as an issue relevant. We have childrenwithdiabetes.com, we have myvega.com, and some more down the line as well. So the the backlink profile is outstanding. This is the type of backlinks you want in your site. And as an expired domain, buying an expired domain, you're already getting this ready to go. So let's take a look at the anchor text profile. It's very clean, and I've said this many times before, but what we generally tend to look for is branded anchor text at the top. We don't want to see any intentionally optimized anchor text or keywords that are ranking at the top, and there has been some link schemes involved. None of this is inside here. We're seeing that at the very top, several of them are branded. We have one generic, which is totally fine. Juice Shepherd was the lady behind the blog. Then we have more of her products. So she sold gluten-free flowers and things like that. So yeah, very, very clean anchor text profile as well. So far, so good. And in terms of the best pages by incoming links, this is basically where those beautiful, beautiful backlinks going to. And we are once again seeing that the majority are going towards the homepage, which is something exactly that we tend to look for. Just like the anchor text, we want to see that the majority are going to the homepage, because when you look at how naturally things occur, natural thing will happen is that they would link to your homepage rather than an internal page with a dedicated specific keyword. If we're seeing, for example, an internal page that is intentionally getting loads of traction, loads of links, and they have tried to rank that, then that would kind of suggest that there has been some link schemes involved, and we generally tend to stay away from expired domains that have done link schemes. But we are seeing very, very clear. We're seeing homepage at the top, which is excellent. But we are seeing, of course, some internal pages that are getting some backlinks and some attention, which are some that we may need to potentially recreate and redirect. So what is the strategy for this domain? Obviously, it falls into the food niche, but it's important that we stick to the gluten-free side of the food niche, because even though it's in the food niche, we don't want to dilute this kind of already established credibility, if you like, on the gluten-free side of the food niche. If you start publishing general food with bread and all these gluten-containing products, that would create huge confusion. And obviously, the name suggests gluten-free, and a lot of the relevancy is based on gluten-free food. So really important that we stick to that. And here is the plan that we have. This would include things like what is gluten-free. So this will be like guides on the gluten-free diet, gluten-free life. What is gluten-free? Is this gluten-free? Anything related to the gluten-free in informational manner. And we're going to do lots and lots and lots of listicle types of content around different recipes that are gluten-free, of course. Examples include 20 best chicken gluten-free dinner recipes, 30 easy gluten-free breakfast recipes on the go, etc. This is just examples. Heavily listicle content on recipes that are gluten-free. And of course, we can do listicle types of content on people who are traveling, that are gluten-free. Where can they eat? The famous food chains, do they offer gluten-free options? What are they? This is kind of a more creative side of our strategy. The monetization can come from all things: cooking equipment, food products. Excuse me. They can be with the gluten-free side of things. There is more opportunity for monetization, because you have to order. Sometimes we have to buy specific gluten-free products, whether it's almond flour or gluten-free flour or specific ingredients that you need to create X recipe or do X thing. There are more specialized ingredients, if you like. So the monetization opportunities are much bigger here than if it was a general food site. Right, so we have a few competitors that I want to show you, and all of them are lower authority than us, which is perfect for us to tomb rate, which is a method we use that basically takes lower competition, lower authority competitors that are doing very well in the space. We check their best performing content, take their best performing content, obviously make it original, improve it, add more value, and with our authority and history and strong backlinks, hopefully we outrank them. And this method has worked very well with us in the past. So the first one is nogluten.com. They are 21, generating incredible amount of traffic, which is 125,000 per month, according to Ahrefs. Now, let's take a look at what these guys are doing. Obviously, No Gluten suggests it's a gluten-free life and gluten-free content, but ultimately, these guys are very, very heavily focusing on gluten-free restaurants around McDonald's, Cheesecake Factory, Wendy's, which kind of falls very nicely into our initial strategy, which is listicle types of content on gluten-free restaurants. And this competitor is an excellent proof that just by doing this, they have achieved incredible amount of traffic with the authority that's less than us. So as we're seeing here, Texas Roadhouse gluten-free menu, McDonald's gluten-free menu, Cheesecake Factory, Wendy's, Does Panera have gluten-free bread, Taco Bell gluten-free, Jimmy John's, Buffalo Wild Wings. They're really heavily focusing on big food chains and what are their gluten-free options. Some of these search volumes are really good. From this specific one, just gluten-free restaurants, which is obviously a very broad keyword, has 122,000. Then for more specific ones, we have 8,000 here, 2,000 plus 3,000, nearly 4,000 here, 2,000. So really good search volumes for these queries. And this domain is proving that it works, and they're doing very well. Right, so the second domain is this one. It's DR27, and once again, doing very well, and it's less authority than us. It's generating 143,000. So let's take a look at what they're doing. So they are doing products rather than restaurants, which is good because we need to have a variety so we can cover different kind of aspects of the gluten-free questions, if you like. So these guys are covering things like gluten-free Chinese food, gluten-free vegan protein powder, our corn tortillas gluten-free. We have our Lay's barbecue chips gluten-free. We have our Takis gluten-free, our egg rolls gluten-free. This Premier Protein have dairy. They have kind of gone on the side of dairy as well. Is sushi gluten-free? We have this barbecue sauce have gluten-free. They have done a bit of restaurants. Our Arby's fries. Arby's is a chain in America, I believe. Our Arby's fries gluten-free. Top ramen gluten-free. So they're really heavily focusing on products and a bit of restaurants and chains. So the third competitor actually is sweetthankyou.com. They are 18, so that's even much less authority than us, generating 45,000 per month, which is again pretty decent traffic considering their authority. Let's take a look at what they're doing. Obviously, first of all, they only have 122 posts, which kind of reassures us that with that amount of posts, we can start seeing some decent traffic coming through because these guys are doing it, right? That's the biggest proof you can get. And once again, they heavily focus on products, whether they're gluten-free or not. Our Rice Krispies gluten-free. Just look at that search volume. It's mad, like 10,000, 13,000. Some insane search volumes. Our M&M's gluten-free. Obviously, based on their name, they are more onto sweets, if you like. So they do M&M's, frozen cookie dough. They have cornflakes and marshmallows and chocolate shell ice cream and gluten-free cornbread and stuff. Cinnamon almonds. We have banana bread, about how to cook banana bread and how to tell it's done. So they have a bit of recipes and mixture of kind of products, whether they're gluten-free or not. So definitely loads of things we can take from here. So very, very good. So this is the first one. I really like this domain because I think it's a whole package. Obviously, the food niche is competitive, but remember, you're only going to be targeting one area of the food niche, and that's the gluten-free area. Obviously, you can do all things gluten-free as long as they're gluten-free. But ultimately, I think the quality of this experiment is fantastic. So this is the first one, and now I'm going to tear down the second one, so stick with me. The next one is also good. So the second one is Dogwood Rental Parties, and it's in the niche is parties/celebrations. So this is an interesting niche because it's not one we often, come across. So I had to be a little bit more creative here to identify a good kind of strategy and kind of a good opportunity for us to grow it. So I'm going to share that with you in a second. It's DR19 and it has 103 referring domains and it's 10 years old. So again, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to get to work. Right, so I'm going to let this snippet from the Wayback Machine load. In the meantime, while it loads, I'm going to load my other tabs. But what I want to kind of bring to your attention is that many, many times when we outsource expired domains, we kind of sometimes wonder, well, why is this suddenly, expired? Like, what's happened? And often it's really hard to have a reason, to find a reason. But I just want to show you here that the reason why this domain expired is because of the pandemic. And they have shown it here on their Instagram account and have said the reason. So we are clear that the reason was very much because of COVID-19. And at least now we know that it wasn't because of something dodgy that may have happened. Maybe they did something shady and they got shut down. We know that it was due to the pandemic. So rest assured, the kind of the effects were natural. Right, so this has loaded, and the purpose of this domain is very interesting. First of all, this was an actual business, and these guys basically rented out furniture that was very unique, primarily vintage. As we're seeing here, some awesome looking sofas and things like that. So if you have a party or a wedding and you want some fancy like furniture or something, hire these guys. They're gonna get you this awesome furniture basically. So in a nutshell, this is the niche. But ultimately, if you think about it, for you to order things like that, you have to be celebrating something. You won't just order it for nothing, right? Because this is obviously rented furniture, rented equipment, etc. So for me personally, I think this niche falls into the celebration slash parties, because you'll see in a second, but the domain catered very heavily, at least the business catered very heavily to weddings. So weddings are celebratory. It's an event where there's celebrations taking place, party, etc. So this is the business in a nutshell, as we're seeing a picture here of a nice wedding here. So let's take a look at the backlinks. The backlinks are really good as well. And the reason why I said they catered very heavily to wedding is because a lot of the backlinks are related to weddings. So, but obviously the first backlink we have is popsugar.com, DR88. We have Honeybook, we have Style Me Pretty, classic, high quality, high authority, wedding related backlink. We have Green, Wedding Shoes, June's Buck Wedding, Ruffle Blog, 100 layer cake. We have weddingrule.com, bridalmusicing.com. We have Rock and Roll Bride, Gray Likes Wedding, something turquoise, I think it's called. Sorry, my spelling's terrible. Design Love Fest, and we have iosociety.com and more down the line as well, like this one. So a lot of them, as you can see, are wedding related, but that's fine. We'll still utilize the wedding aspect of this domain. But as I said, like this falls nicely into the celebratory kind of niche. The anchor text, again, very clean, Dogwood Rentals Everywhere, which is the brand. So really, I have nothing negative to say here. Very clean anchor text profile as well. In terms of the best pages by incoming links, again, the top pages are the homepage that are getting the most attention, the most links, which is totally fine, totally natural. In fact, I don't really think anything here will need recreating, because we have a gallery here that really probably wouldn't recreate, because the gallery is more with what kind of things they offered and etc. Right. So what's the strategy? Because this is obviously interesting. So obviously the domain falls into a party celebration niche. However, because the domain obviously catered heavily to weddings, has heavily strong wedding related backlinks, one of our first kind of layouts would be for wedding related, kind of how to plan your wedding. We shouldn't just make it a general wedding, if you like. We just say guides on like how to plan your wedding, how to celebrate it. You can rent this, you can rent that, how to plan your photo shoot. Obviously you may need to rent some awesome chair or something, or a sofa or something vintage. I don't know. You can be creative and get some content going in terms of how to plan your wedding that relates to the niche and to the celebration aspect, rather than how to bake a cake for your wedding or something. So in terms of the rest of after we've set out that initial foundation, the rest of it would be like guides on parties and special occasions. Examples would be how to host a party, plan a party, party decor. So decorating parties is huge. For example, let's say you have a 14-year-old son. He loves Fortnite. So his birthday is coming up and you want to theme his birthday in a Fortnite decor or something, cake, whatever. And this is something you could take inspirations from online, from sites like this one. We can do listicle type of content on party celebration ideas. For example, it could be like 15 amazing party ideas for your son's 18th birthday, 20th birthday, 21st, 40th, 60th, etc. Loads we could do. And listicles on party rentals as well. Something we should not miss out, obviously, because the domain was heavily focused on rentals as well. The monetization can come from all things party goods. So if you're themed for your son, you're gonna have to buy some stuff, right? That kind of work for that theme, right? They're not just things hanging around your house. You're gonna have to buy something special, and this is where we can monetize. Okay, so I've got some really interesting competitors, and the first one is 19thbirthdayIdeas.com. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because when I saw this competitor, it really inspired me of what we could do and kind of expand our content opportunities. Now, this is a site dedicated to only 19th birthday ideas, but even though they've only focused on 1 year, 19th birthday, they have done something really smart that has given me a lot of kind of ideas of how we can twist one birthday and create multiple different types of content just for 1 year birthday. For example, 12th birthday, 15th, 16th, 21st, you know. I'll show you in a second. But ultimately, for a domain that's doing just 19 birthday ideas, 8,000, I'll say it's doing really well. And also, I want to kind of highlight that these guys are only 28 posts, which isn't a lot, you know, because the traffic they're getting. So here's kind of what I wanted to show you. For a 19th birthday ideas, you would think that, okay, well, that's just one piece of content, right? No. What these guys have done is they have split each individual thing about your 19th birthday into multiple different content. One of those includes wishes, gift ideas, decorations for a man, for a woman, for birthday party centerpieces, cake ideas. We have invitations. We have for grandma. We have for photos ideas. We have memories. We have gift ideas for your grandpa. We have speeches. We have, so if you're understanding what I'm getting at here, I'm trying to get to the point that if we could turn one party idea for one type of year in multiple different content idea opportunities, if you like, then this is giving us an excellent idea, you know, because these guys have dedicated this whole site, but ultimately we can do this for every year. And this includes 40th birthday ideas with incredible search volume. We can do obviously 21st. And we can do exactly what these guys have done. We can kind of do ideas, wishes, gift ideas, decorations, instead of just putting one big blog post on the 21st birthday ideas. We can, you know, do multiple different content pieces on that specific year, if that makes sense. So obviously, we're definitely going to take inspiration from this one and turmeric it and take some of their content, because for a 19th birthday, this is getting quite a lot of search volume, if you like. So I'm quite happy with that. This is definitely a domain we'll turmeric. Finally, the last competitor is happymomhacks.com, and this domain is DR30. It's generating 121,000. Now, this domain is obviously more for parenting and stuff, but it has things that kind of go back to my strategy in terms of themed birthday ideas. So if you see here, birthday party ideas for 13-year-olds, this is where it's at, you know. It's holistic types of content of 50 fun 13-year-old birthday party ideas they will actually enjoy. And when you start scrolling down, it's a listicle of kind of options. So we have escape rooms parties, we have scavenger hunts, we have video games, we have games, drugs, and so on and so on and so on. So, and the search volume for these are actually excellent as well. Sorry, it's a bit low. So the search volume is excellent just for this one. It has 4,800. But as I said, like we could do, as you can see here, she's done 10-year-old birthday party ideas as well, backyard birthday party ideas. We have Fortnite DIY party ideas. That's something I mentioned before, and so on and so on. So you get the point. We can do a lot of celebratory and a lot of interesting things when it comes to parties and celebration. And with that, we are ending our kind of domain teardown, and we're ending the stream as well. So thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you found this our stream with Craig helpful. I hope you like this domains teardowns, and that's the most important thing. As long as you learn, and as long as you learn anything from these things, I'm happy. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe as well if you liked what you saw. So thanks guys, and I will see you